Hello magic makers and stargazers, I'm Yolanda and welcome to my channel. I'm an astrologer, tarot reader, spiritual teacher and coach. Today I'm going to be speaking to you about Virgo season, and we're going to be looking at the charts for the 2 new moons in Virgo. 2 new moons, it's a very unusual event. So there's going to be a new moon this weekend on the 22nd of August, 23rd of August for some of you. Here it's in the Pacific Northwest, it's on the 22nd of August. And then the second new moon, which happens to be a solar eclipse, is on the 21st of September. So we're going to be looking at those charts, and we're going to be discussing archetypes as well for this season, and then I'm going to share a horoscopes for every sign. So that's at the end of this video. So let's dive in. Okay, Virgo season. So Virgo season starts this weekend on the 22nd of August and ends 21st of September. Virgo is a mutable earth sign ruled by Mercury, and mutable means that the sign is adaptable, flexible, willing to change. Now Mercury rules Gemini as well. Now what is the difference between the energy? Like what is the essence of Mercury like in Gemini compared to Mercury in Virgo? So in Gemini, Mercury's energy or essence is diffusive and scattered. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just that Mercury is not as focused as it is in Virgo in Gemini. So in Gemini, Mercury wants to gather a whole lot of information. He wants to learn as much as he possibly can about a whole lot of things. He's very interested in many subjects. So the energy there is one of a generalist. In Virgo, Mercury is more focused, more interested in how things work, in the nitty-gritty of things. He's very analytical, so it's this focused way of thinking and a focused way of communicating and sharing his ideas. I say he, but of course Mercury is not only a he, Mercury is androgynous, so but anyway, bear with me. Now Mercury is very analytical in Virgo, so this is what we have to remember going forward. Very analytical, very precise, very discerning. So there's this power of discernment that comes through during Virgo season. And what does it mean to be discerning? It's the ability to judge well, the ability to see things clearly, and to make decisions based on what we have learned and experienced from previous experiences. And the primary gift of the season of Virgo is the gift of service. Now if you have any personal planets in Virgo, you will know, like if you have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus or Mars, you will know that you feel this urge to be of service, to add value to the lives of others. Now I believe that everyone actually wants to be of service, and that everyone wants to add more beauty, more peace, more joy into the world, but it is more pronounced if you do have these personal planets in the sign of Virgo. Alright, the archetypes and symbols. So why do we look at archetypes? So why is it essential to look at archetypes? I mean, it's not essential, of course, to look at archetypes. I just enjoy sharing archetypes at every change of zodiac, every new season. So archetypes help us recognize the patterns of behavior that start or like come to the fore at the change of season, and it helps us create more meaningful connections. And archetypes are therefore like a framework for working with our emotions and impulses in a systematic way. So let's look at the first archetype, or the primary archetype of Virgo is of course the Virgin with the sheaf of wheat. And the word virgin originally meant, it came from the Greek word that originally meant not attached to a man or a woman who was one in herself. In other words, a virgin is a woman in full possession of herself. Now, I'm not going to try and, assume what it is that what full possession of yourself means for you, but I would like you to think about that. What does it mean to be in full possession of yourself? It's a very important one to consider, a very important question to reflect on this season. Now, the sheaves of wheat, like we see in this beautiful painting, by the way, this painting is by Henry Rowland. The sheaves of wheat are emblems of an abundant harvest, but they also represent the process of harvesting, which is a process of dividing and separating and sorting. So yes, Virgo is the sign associated with the harvest, or with what we are growing and hoping to harvest. But it is also very much so the season where we have to divide, separate and sort, where we have to bring order to things. So you will probably find yourself doing a lot of dividing of shares, dividing of things, separating substances, even possibly separating from a person, and then also sorting through things, getting yourself organized, getting your drawers organized, your cupboards organized, sorting out your life. Really, that's the biggest thing to do during Virgo season. Other questions that are worth your reflection or reflecting on at this time are what needs your full attention at this time and what requires your careful scrutiny. And you'll get the answers to these questions as we move along here. The next archetype of the season is the high priest or the high priestess. Now, the high priestess knows that God is in the details. The high priestess detects patterns. If you're not paying attention and are not fully present, you are not in touch with your magic. You have to be fully present. You have to be awake and aware. And if you're missing the signs and not taking advantage of opportunities offered in fragments of conversations or gleaning insights from observing body language or bodily sensations, then you are missing out. You are not going to take, you're not going to be aware of opportunities opening up, so you're not going to take these opportunities. You're not going to advance. You're not going to grow. The high priestess knows that you have to pay attention in order to progress, not only in life towards your goals, but also to progress in wisdom and spiritually. Do remember that the sign opposite Virgo is Pisces, and Pisces is concerned with wisdom, and not wisdom per se, but spiritual enlightenment, with growth, spiritual growth, with mystery, with expansion, and understanding of the universe. And that comes into play because the sign opposite, whatever sign, comes into play and somehow, so for example, Virgo, there is the need to be intelligent, or this urge to be intelligent, but also to be wise, and to be devoted to whatever you're doing in a smaller scale, in a more personal, like a personal way, in a more enclosed way, contained way. Whereas in Pisces, again, there's that devotion, but it turns to reverence for something greater, something bigger, something higher. Right, the next archetype for the season is the archetype of the healer. Now, the healer understands the importance of purification. So this is a season of detoxing and release. Very important to detox your body, but also to release negative emotions and old, tired patterns of behavior. Okay, let's dive into the new moon in Virgo chart. So this is an unusual new moon. It's a seasonal black moon, and a seasonal black moon happens every 33 months. So that's the first thing worth pointing out. You won't be able to see this black moon obviously on the 22nd of August or the 23rd of August, because of course it's a black moon. There's no light. Now this new moon, this lunation is at 0 degrees of Virgo. So there you go, moon and sun at 0 degrees of Virgo, which tells us there's this amplification, or this concentration of Virgo energy. And what is this Virgo energy? We've discussed it. It's this energy of function and form, and being more discerning, and being more analytical, being more precise with the way you communicate, the way you do things, more factual, more learned. You have to show that you've got experience, or that you've learned what that you know what you're talking about. You can prove that you know what you're talking about, that you can prove that. So it's also this energy of experimentation and research, especially research and proving and sharing your findings, right? So that's really going to come to the fore, this one of this concentration of energy of having to get things in order, becoming more discerning, becoming more fact driven or factual in your approach to things, to just facing the hard facts and getting real about things. Now, this lunation, of course, is ruled by Mercury in Leo. And Mercury in Leo is, of course, wanting us to express ourselves, to give enthusiastic expression to our heart's desires, and to live more beautifully and largely, to just be more of ourselves. And with Mercury here, ruling this new moon, it tells me that you have to create, like you want to put a process, or you want to plan how it is that you're going to express yourself more authentically, or express your heart's desire in a way that is grounded and truthful and has form, and there's also a function to what it is you're doing. Because we are already in eclipse season, by the way, the energy is unstable at best. The energy for the next 6 weeks is going to be, and beyond actually, but for the next 6 weeks, very unstable, very unpredictable. So you want to pay very close attention to what starts coming up for you, what surprise, what happens, and take those words into consideration, because it probably has to do with some sort of division, separation, or sorting matter comes up this week, and it's going to be possibly surprising or jarring or disruptive to your routine. Most importantly, you want to get familiar with your Virgo house. You really, really want to understand all the areas that are ruled by your Virgo house. So what do I mean by house? I do have a free resource for you on my website. It's like a 10-page or 15-page astro cheat sheets. So I encourage you to go visit my website and download that. I'll put a link to it, and you'll learn all about houses there. But I also touch on the houses at the end of this video when I share your horoscopes. So you really want to get familiar with your Virgo house, and you want to then look at your Gemini house, because Uranus in Gemini is in a square to the moon and the sun, and this tells me that there is some sort of disruption either the day before or on the day of the new moon or soon after. But these things tend to happen before. You might be surprised, like your car might break down, for example, or suddenly your relationship breaks, you break up, it ends, it comes to a sudden ending, and you now separate from someone. Or you have to or you suddenly find yourself in a contentious, like discussion, argument, some sort of argument breaks up. But it's definitely something surprising and unpleasant possibly, but you'll have to look at your planetary placements as well. Which planets do you have at those positions, if you have any, at near, very near, within 2 degrees of Gemini, here next to or near Uranus here. And then also if you have any planets in the late degrees, so 28, 29 degrees of Leo and the first 2 degrees of Virgo, you want to be aware of that. If you have any planets there, that energy, whatever planets are there, they're also going to describe whatever happens to you at this time. So for example, if you have Venus at 2 degrees of Virgo, you might find that your relationship, if you're in a relationship, might suddenly end. Something quite disruptive is about to happen. Or you may find, because by the way, Uranus is not always negative, you may find that you suddenly meet someone that you fall in love with, or that you see as a potential partner. So you want to familiarize yourself with those 2 signs. Okay, next. So between the new moon in Virgo on the 21st of August and the solar eclipse in Virgo on September 21st, we have, of course, a lunar eclipse on September the 7th, and I will cover that lunar eclipse in a separate video. So on the 21st of September, we have a solar eclipse in Virgo. Now this time at 29 degrees. So this tells us that there's this last chance, this last breath of releasing things, because it is a south node eclipse, right? South node, which is the tail, the dragon's tail, tells us to release and eliminate, get rid of something or get rid of things. And you have this last chance to do it, to get yourself organized and free. Free is going to be a very important word here, by the way, over the next 6 weeks. You're going to have to free up some part of your life or environment. Free up, make space for. You have to make space for something new, because this is definitely a 6 weeks that's going to bring in new, fresh energy. Possibly with some surprising heartache if you haven't experienced that already, because this last Mercury retrograde in Leo, which was opposite Pluto in Aquarius, was pretty awful. Was pretty awful. It was a transit of despair and death and deceit. So if you haven't already experienced that, then there may be this something may come up at this time that may be unpleasant, but it's necessary to free up more of your time, free up more of your space, and to help you get more organized and more, and also to just wake up to certain realities, to get real about your situation. Virgo is very interested or concerned with reality, with the facts, right? Remember that, with the facts. The sign opposite Virgo, which is Pisces, is not concerned with the facts. Pisces is more about imagination and fantasy. Virgo stresses the importance, and this is why Virgo stresses, by the way, as well, the importance of getting real about things, facing facts. Okay, a quick tip here, by the way, if you are a astrology enthusiast or astrologer, you can always learn more about the essence of a sign by looking at the decans of the sign. So these are the decans. So the first 10 degrees of Virgo are ruled by Mercury, which tells us, if you have any planets in the first 10 degrees of Mercury, that you are actually very analytical. You like investigating things, getting to the bottom of things. You like analyzing, and you are very discriminating, and possibly even judgmental and critical. Those are the more negative side of things. The second decan of Virgo is ruled by Saturn, and this tells us, if you have any personal planets there, that you are more disciplined. Your approach to things is disciplined, patient, and you can be quite slow at getting things done, at getting started, but you're very methodical, very practical in your approach. And then the last decan of Virgo is ruled by Venus, and if you have any planets there, then you are very value driven and more easygoing, not so critical, not so judgmental, possibly not so analytical either, but certainly one you prefer having a good time. For example, if you have any personal planets in the last decan of Virgo. Okay, now what I wanted to touch on here as well is this interesting trine between Jupiter at 21 degrees Cancer, trine Black Moon Lilith at 21 degrees Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is a sign of, that associated with sex and intimacy and death and inheritances and things like, and tax, but also power, taxes and power and money. So with Black Moon Lilith here, it tells me that we are all carrying some shame around those things: sex, intimacy, money. So we might be carrying shame or feeling ashamed about or guilty about our spending, or about our sexual past, or whatever our addictions to sex or something like that, or maybe we have issues with intimacy. And now Jupiter in contact with Black Moon Lilith here tells us that we have an opportunity to show self-compassion and to grow beyond this shame, to face our shame and to grow beyond it. So it's like almost an adulting, to accept the situation, and then possibly show more compassion to ourselves and grow beyond it. We might, because again, Scorpio is also a sign associated with therapy, counseling may help us deal with that. So yeah, it's a deep healing trine here. I love it. That's why I wanted to speak to it quickly. The other thing that's very important here is this trine, this grand trine between, it's an out of sign trine, grand trine with Sun, Moon, and then Uranus in Aquarius, and Pluto in Aquarius, and Uranus in Gemini. And it's an air grand sign, kind of, because 29 degrees, we can say it's going into Libra there. And this just tells us that whatever is going to happen from now until the solar eclipse is going to change our minds. We are going to have a mindset change, a shift of mindset. It may be that something happens on the world stage that impacts us all, helps us all have a change of mind about something large, because Pluto is about humanity and about the larger picture, the collective. But with Uranus here in Gemini, it also tells me that whatever happens on the larger scale and the collective is going to impact the way we think as individuals. So yeah, let's see what happens. By the way, if you would like me to do a video on Black Moon Lilith in astrology, please drop a comment. Okay, so here are the horoscopes. If you're Aries rising, you can expect a new job or a transfer of position. If you are a homeowner, you'll probably get a new tenant. You may also be committing to a new exercise regimen, or you may be getting a new pet. If you're Taurus rising, you may be pregnant, or you may be adopting a baby, acquiring or developing a new hobby. There may be a new lover on the scene, or you may be starting a creative project. A child will need your attention during this season. Gemini rising, you may be moving to a new house or apartment, or you may be renovating some part of your home, or you may be buying new furniture. Cancer rising, you may start a new blog or a YouTube channel. You may have new interactions with immediate community and neighbors, and a sibling may require your attention. Leo rising, you may have new, fresh abundance and new inflow, or a sudden windfall of cash, or a new income stream, or a new sense of confidence and worth. Virgo rising, you may have a change of identity or sense of self. You may marry, for example, or your status may change, and you may also be committing to a new health regimen. Libra rising, a new realization after deep reflection or therapy, and is on the cards, and definitely a deeper connection to mystery. Scorpio rising, a new friend may have come into your life, or may be coming into your life over the next 6 weeks, or you may join a club or group and expect a karmic reward. Sagittarius rising, a promotion may be on the cards, or an opportunity to advance your career. And Capricorn rising, overseas travel or new dealings with foreign people is on the cards. You may be traveling overseas now, or you may have to deal with someone from a different culture. You may be going to college or university. Aquarius rising, you may be applying for a loan, receiving an inheritance, or starting a career as an astrologer or a shaman or a tarot reader or therapist, or you may be receiving guidance from an astrologer, shaman, etc. And Pisces rising, there is possibly a marriage on the cards, or a new partnership, a business partnership, definitely love of some sort of, or a close bond is on the cards, and fresh insights into how people close to you perceive you. Thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe if you are new here, and do leave a comment. Thank you.